Hello everyone, this is part 10 of What If Naruto Was Reborn as Kyuubi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The Suna and Konoha shinobi all looked in the distance as the Sound Nin charged to the gates. There were still many Sound Nin near them, but they were easily handled. Everyone, deal with the enemies that are already here. Gaara ordered, I'll deal with the ones that are approaching. Before Gaara prepared for a jutsu, Naruto walked to his side, we'll deal with them. Gaara smiled at Naruto's help. The two looked ahead, preparing a plan to handle the upcoming Sound Nins. We need to see what we're dealing with, Naruto said. He put his hands together for his favorite seal, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A shadow clone appeared next to Naruto. The clone dashed off towards the enemy, getting closer and closer by the second. When he reached a close enough distance, he saw what they were dealing with. These Sound Nin were fully armored and armed with swords. Shocked by how strong these ninjas were, he didn't notice a Sound Nin attacked him straight on. Back with the original Naruto, he immediately knew what the shadow clone witnessed, they're armored. That's going to make things more difficult. Gaara said, I need time to prepare enough sand for it. You don't need to use your sand to attack. Naruto said, I have a plan. With the Oto Nin being armored, that eliminates their chances of being able to be stealthy. They're going to have to charge straight on. What do you suggest then? Gaara asked. While Naruto explained his plan to Gaara, the others took out the remaining Sound Nin in their area. Hinata had finally arrived on the scene, after realizing that Naruto must have already made it here. You missed out on a lot, Hinata. Kiba said, Naruto sure knows how to mess around with them. Hinata looked ahead and saw Naruto standing with Gaara, talking with him. Naruto-kun. She still wondered how he was able to disappear from her sight. A Hyuga has the power to see through the work of an invisibility jutsu, but Naruto managed to slip past that. Suddenly, Naruto appeared with a puff of smoke. Everyone, stay close, Naruto said. With that, he suddenly disappeared. Apparently it was a shadow clone. Gaara put his hands together for a seal, Suten, Ishiheki no Jutsu, sand release, stone wall technique. The sand around the village wall began to rise up to a higher level, slowly revealing the hard stone underneath. When the wall stopped moving, it was as high as the walls of the village. The entire village was surrounded by the wall, except for a small opening in which the shinobi stood in. The narrow passage was as large as the gateway into the village and tall enough to make sure no Sound Nin could jump or scale over it. The Sound Nin came to a sudden stop as they arrived several feet away. From the army, one walked forward. Give up the Jinchouki. The Sound Nin called out, give up the Uzumaki boy, and we may spare your village. Hinata looked at Naruto in worry. These Sound Nin wanted Naruto and they were planning on destroying the village to get to him. You want me? Naruto asked. He put his hands together for his cloning seal, then come and get me. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The exit of the narrow path was blocked off by several hundred shadow clones of Naruto, each of them holding a katana. You know what to do, Gaara. Gaara nodded. He waved his hands up, which caused the sand to rise, forming a thin wall in front of the Naruto clones. In a matter of seconds, the Sound Nins reached the wall and pushed through. Don't hold back. One of them yelled, keep pushing. Stand back, guys. Naruto called out. All the shadow clones raised their left hands forward, opening their palms. A sudden blast broke through the sand wall and blinded the Sound Nin. Using this opportunity, the Naruto clones thrusted their blades forward, the Sound Nin in the front line. Back up. The clones stepped back, and another sand wall formed in front of them. The Sound Nin charged forward again, attempting to break through. Another blast from the Naruto clones broke through the sand wall and they at the Sound Nin, backing away in time for yet another sand wall to form. This repeated cycle of breaking the wall, attacking, retreating, defending went on for several more times, until the Sound Nin knew this was a lost cause. They backed away and tried to find a new strategy. Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto walked into the room Orochimaru was in. An Oto nin just came back from Suna. Things aren't looking well for us. It seems we need a more persuasive method. Orochimaru said, get the two Konoha shinobi. I think their friends might want to see them. And what about Nikito? Kabuto asked. Bring him too. Orochimaru answered, I think it's time to see how he is against our enemies. Tenten groaned in pain as she tried to stretch her legs. She was relieved that both her and Neji were no longer chained up, but it was what happened after. After Neji had confessed everything, telling him of where they were going, why they were going there, and about Naruto, Kabuto had the sound ninty them more in case the two had any more information to tell. Neji was strong enough to manage through the pain, but Tenten felt as if she received a more horrid Toruto than he did. Tenten, are you alright? Neji slowly crawled over to her side. Yeah. Tenten cringed in pain as she brought her legs closer to her sea. She shivered slightly from the cold cell the two were in. Why did you do it? Why did you tell them? I couldn't let you get hurt. Neji answered. When he tried to move again, he made a wrong move and ended up pushing on AC on his knee. You didn't have to do it for me. Tenten said. Despite being in pain, she was upset of what Neji did. They were going to KU. Neji said, remembering how Kabuto was planning to K her if Neji didn't talk, I couldn't let him do it. I would have given my life up to keep you alive. Tenten's eyes widened and she gasped softly. Really? Tenten was visibly touched by his words. She sneezed when the cold started to get to her. You're getting cold, Tenten. Neji crawled closer to her. He wrapped his arms around her and brought her closer to him, warming her with his own body heat. Tenten didn't say anything, she simply smiled and relaxed in the warmth of Neji's embrace. The doors to their cell opened and Kabuto stood there with two other sound nin. We have a little walking to do. Kabuto said. With the sand wall still high up, the sound nin could only go through the narrow path that was being blocked by Naruto and his shadow clones. Take em out, Naruto called out. Most of his shadow clones charged forward and made their way to the sound nin. The remaining group stayed behind to stay on defense if any sound nin got past the first wave. I'm losing clones quite quickly, Naruto said to Gaara. These guys are tough. Their armor is made of some strong metal and their swords are almost twice as strong as a regular one. I'm sure my sand can deal with them, Gaara said, but I'll need time to get a proper jutsu ready. Got it, Naruto said. He looked back to the sound nin and saw that his clones were now much more few, and that some of the enemies were coming towards them, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. More shadow clones formed and they charged forward to block out the sound nin. Wait up, Naruto. Kiba and Akamaru ran ahead to join the blonde shinobi, with Reiko and Kanara with them. While the rest of the clones went off, the real Naruto stayed behind to defend Gaara. A few sound nins broke through the defense and one jumped up to attack Gaara. Look out. Naruto jumped up and delivered a kick to the sound nin's face, sending him to the wall and knocked out. Naruto landed and looked over to Gaara to see if he was hurt. Fortunately, he wasn't. The sigh of relief Naruto gave made him lose sight of the sound nin that was behind him. Naruto-kun. Hinata ran towards him and thrusted a palm at the sea of the attacker. Naruto turned back and saw the sound nin fall to the ground. He looked to Hinata and smiled, thanks. Hinata returned a smile to him. Gaara, are you ready? Yes, I am. Tell your friends to retreat, Naruto. Gaara answered. On the battleground, Kiba, Reiko, their canine companions fended off the sound nin along with Naruto's clones. One of the clones faced the two shinobi. Get back, he said. Gaara's got an attack ready. I'm not gonna wait for it. Kiba said, come on, Reiko. He grabbed her hand and the two ran back to the narrow passage of the sand wall. Akamaru and Kanara followed them. While they ran back, the clones did their best to make sure they got back safely. We made it. Now Gaara, Naruto called out. Soon as Shiga, sand drizzle. A large cloud of sand flew up to the sky, hovering over the battleground. All the sound nin looked up at what was covering the sun. The cloud then dispersed into sharp pellets of sand that fell down towards them. The shadow clones dispersed into clouds of smoke when the sand hit them, but the large portion of the sound nins were unharmed by the attack. This isn't looking good, Naruto said. We need something more. He made another seal and dispersed more shadow clones that ran forward to defend Gaara. Give me more time, Gaara said. This needs time to prepare. He put his hands together for a seal, preparing for one more attack. Here they come. Naruto stared down the sound nin that was coming towards him. As the enemy came closer, Naruto prepared an attack, with his right hand holding a swirl of chakra. Rasengan. He thrusted his hand forward and the sound nin was sent spiraling back and colliding into other sound nin. Hinata watched in amazement of how strong Naruto had become. He was indeed the same person that Hinata had tried to impress for so many times. It was time that she show him that she was just as powerful. Suten, Kuzui Mizumi no Jutsu, water release, lake flood technique. Hinata spewed out a large jet of water into the sky, which gathered to form a large bubble of water. When the jet of water was done, the giant bubble fell to the ground and landed on the sand, with the sound nin in the vicinity. The sound nin that were in the attack were now trapped in a large quicksand that was slowly sinking them down. Wow. Naruto smiled at Hinata from her amazing technique. It won't last long. Hinata said, they can still get out of the mud. Naruto quickly turned to Kakashi, Sensei, do something about it. Kakashi kicked down a sound nin and turned to Naruto. That quicksand is too big for me to handle. As another sound nin came from behind, Yamato hit him down. Then let me help Kakashi-senpai. He said, I know which jutsu to use. Alright then. Kakashi said, Guy, keep them off of us. Got it, Guy said. As the sound nin came at him, Guy kicked them all away with his powerful legs. Now, Kakashi commanded, Doton, Doryuheiki, Earth Release, Earth-style wall. Kakashi flashed his mask open to spew out the large mud while Yamato spewed mud of his one, which covered the quicksand and instantly hardened. Done. Yamato smiled in success. Naruto looked ahead and saw the other sound nin charging. Gaara. It's done. He raised his hands and a large collection of sand rose up to the sky. Suten, Yariam no Jutsu, sand release, spear rain technique. All the sand that was gathered in the sky scattered into spears that rained down on the sound nin. Even with the armor, the sand spears fell through and pinned them all down. Great one Gaara. Naruto said, but we still have a lot more to deal with. Orochimaru sure is persistent. Kakashi said. Sasuke, we've been walking all over the place. Sugetsu complained, where are we going? To every place that has any clue of Itachi. Sasuke answered, I'm not giving up until we find him. Team Snake was now walking through a barren land of stone. Everything around them was nothing but the color of the rocks that made up the landscape. We've stopped at so many different places. Why not just take a day to rest? Sugetsu asked. Well, if you'd just leave that sword behind, you wouldn't be complaining. Karen said with an evil glare at the boy. Fine. Sasuke said, well rest here for the night. Sighing deeply in relief, Sugetsu sat on the ground and rested on his back. The door to Nikito's room opened and Orochimaru was surprised to find that the entire room was filled with hardened lava. Well, I can see you've been busy. This is incredible. Nikito said, oh, how I wish I had this before I was defeated by that boy. Well, you can have the chance to test it. Orochimaru said, getting the attention of him, we are on our way to Suna, the boy you speak of is there and I intend to capture him. You can test your skills out there. When I'm done with the boy, you can K him in any way you desire. Nikito smiled as he walked out of the room and into the hallway of Orochimaru's secret lair. Your armor is in my chamber. Orochimaru said, I had Kabuto bring him to where we are to meet. The two walked through the hall, making many different turns and going through many doors. They were finally out and into the sunlight, where Kabuto was waiting for them, along with several sound nin, with Neji and Tenten, bound and gagged. Did you bring it? Orochimaru asked. Yes I did, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto stepped to the side and showed Nikito's armor, which was behind him. We're gonna need something different if we plan to take him out now. Naruto said, for an army that large, we need something that can wipe them all out easily. What do you suggest? Gaara asked. I'm not suggesting anything. Naruto answered, I was hoping you had something in mind. While the two stood before the remaining army of the sound nin, the others behind were worried of the upcoming doom. Hinata stayed by Naruto's side as she watched the entire army draw closer to the village. Wait, Gaara suddenly had a thought, isn't there something that once destroyed an entire army? Gaara asked, referring back to his history, a Yuma once attacked a village and nearly annihilated the entire population. Yeah, Naruto answered, what are you saying? Perhaps a Yuma is what we need. Gaara said, I have an idea, but I don't have the amount of chakra to do it. Gaara turned to Naruto, I'll need your help. If we can do this right, we can have a strong Konbi-henge combination transformation. You sure? Naruto asked. All I need is your chakra. I will do the seals and make the transformation. Gaara said. He extended a hand, offering it to Naruto, you ready? Naruto looked over to Hinata. You'll have to go back to the others. Be careful, Naruto-kun. Hinata said. Hey, you know me. Naruto smiled, I can make it through anything. Hinata smiled back at him and turned to run back to her other teammates. Naruto and Gaara stood alone as they faced their enemies. Naruto placed a hand on Gaara's shoulder as Gaara put his hands together for the seal. Hope you have something big and dangerous in mind. Naruto said, cause big and dangerous is what we need. Just give me your chakra. Gaara said. Naruto concentrated as he poured his chakra into Gaara's system. Gaara felt the sudden rush of an extra boost, it was more than enough for the transformation. With this amount, he could probably do something better than he planned. He pictured the transformation in his mind, something with a dangerous appearance, with claws, teeth, and attacks. He then pictured it to be bigger, much bigger than what he originally planned on. Ready? Gaara asked. Ready. Naruto nodded. Henge. The two shinobi closed their eyes as they disappeared in a large cloud of smoke. Everyone who witnessed the appearance of the cloud saw that it suddenly began to grow in size, not stopping until it reached a size that was almost impossible to measure. Even the sound nin stopped in their tracks to see what had just happened. From the cloud of smoke, a large sand-colored tail whipped out, swinging around as the smoke slowly faded. From where Naruto and Gaara stood, a large creature on 4 legs took their place. This large animal had fur that seemed to be made of the very stand it stood on, and its tail looked as though it was made of large scales of sand. Small streaks of blue were all over the body and all over the ears. Shugoi. Sakura looked in amazement at what was standing there. It can't be. Temari looked at the massive beast. The Shukaku. Kakashi instantly recognized the appearance of the monster. The giant monster swung its one tail around as it stared down at the sound nin. They all looked up as the large raccoon was blocking their path to the village. This was nothing compared to the real monster, but they would be having difficulty handling this the same way. The giant beast swung its tail around as the sound nin were now blocked passage through the narrow passage. The beast clawed away at the sound nin that were closest and they all flew up to the sky and dropped back down to their doom. Everyone, deal with the ones that make it past them. Kakashi ordered. While the giant monster blocked off the passage to the village, some sound nin managed to get through, but the gate was still protected by the Suna and Konoha shinobi. The sound nin attempted to try and get past the Shukaku, but the beast noticed them immediately and searched them all in its giant paws. Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito arrived at the scene of the battle. Neji and Tenten were bound to prevent them from ever trying to run. My god, Nikito stared beyond the horizon to witness what was there. The Shukaku. Orochimaru smiled. How can that be? Kabuto asked, how can that beast still be roaming around the world? Because it's not. Orochimaru answered, it's a combination transformation with the Kazekage and the Uzumaki. They saw how their sound nin were not making much progress in breaking into the Suna. Orochimaru was disgusted at how poorly things were going. Must I do things on my own? Orochimaru bit into his thumb and began to drip out. Kuchio's no jutsu. A large burst of sand threw into the air, attracting the attention of everyone. While the Shukaku beast crushed some more sound nin with its large paws, it looked up and all the large sand burst. When the sand faded, a large snake appeared. This snake was brown in color, not really matching the sand, but close. Instead of having a tail, this snake had another head in its place. Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito stood upon one of the snake's head. A summoning. Nikito looked in surprise. Orochimaru is indeed powerful. It's Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto corrected him, show him the respect he deserves. This isn't good, Kakashi said. He ran towards the Shukaku and jumped up, landing on its head. Naruto, Kazekage-sama, we'll deal with the sound nin, you two deal with Orochimaru. With that said, he jumped off and returned to the others. The Shukaku waited as the two-headed snake lunged forward. The first head opened its mouth and revealed its fangs. The Shukaku grabbed the head and pinned it down on the ground, holding it with one hand. It used its other hand to claw at the reptile. The second head lunged forward, biting at the Shukaku's shoulder, forcing the one-tailed beast to release its grip on the snake head. The snake then wrapped itself around the beast, squeezing hard and binding it until the beast was unable to move. Typical of you. Orochimaru smirked. I can't expect any surprises from you in this state. The snake squeezed harder and harder, until the Shukaku suddenly disappeared in a large puff of smoke. From the smoke, Naruto and Gaara dropped to the sand and made their way back to the group, avoiding the constriction of the snake. Are you guys alright? Sakura asked. Gaara had his arm over Naruto's shoulders, being lifted up as Naruto carried him back. While Naruto held onto Gaara with one arm, he was holding his rib with his other arm. When the two were closer, Naruto gently put Gaara down on the sand. I'll be fine, Naruto said, but check on Gaara. Sakura kneeled by Gaara to check for any wounds. When she found them, she immediately healed them. How's everyone here? Naruto asked. Is everyone okay? We're fine, Kakashi answered. Naruto, let me look at that. Ino removed Naruto's hand from his rib. She saw that there was bee staining his shirt, though it was hard to notice with the black shirt. It's alright, I'm fine, Naruto said. He immediately noticed something off place. He quickly reached up for his blindfold and put it in proper place. The snake disappeared and Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito jumped off, landing on the sand, before the shinobi. Neji-san. Hinata saw that Neji and Tenten were bound and in the grasps of Kabuto and Nikito. Let them go, Guy demanded. I will not have you harm my students anymore. Then why don't you take them from us? He tossed Tenten aside and put his hands together for a jutsu seal. Yugen Bunshin no Jutsu, lava clone technique. Streams of lava began to flow off of Nikito and form puddles around him. A total of 3 puddles of lava were formed and each of them slowly rose up and took form of a figure with arms, legs, and a head. Sakura charged at one of the 4 Nikitos and landed a punch at them. She ended up hitting a clone as the body slowly changed back into lava, but splattered. The bits of the magma landed on Sakura's arm and burned her. Ah! Sakura grabbed her arm in pain from the intense burn. Watch out, Kakashi said to the others. The clones splatter into lava. Sakura used her healing jutsu and removed the scaring burn on her skin, which faded away in seconds. Are you alright, Sakura? Naruto asked. Yeah, I'll be fine, Sakura answered. Her hands stopped glowing as she was now done healing herself. I guess I got a little too careless. The Konoha ninjas, along with the Sand siblings, took their stance against Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito. What they saw was that the remains of the eliminated clones re-emerged into 2 separate clones. We'll have to find some way to get rid of those lava clones, Yamato said. My wood is weak against fire. Sai pulled out a sheet from his gauntlet and took out a brush. He quickly filled the pages with pictures of 6 identical lions. Chuju Giga. The lions on the scroll pulled themselves out of the paper and grew into a life-size lion. They all charged at the Naktio clones, but even these ink-made beasts weren't enough. Yugen Kurada. Lava body. Each of the clones of Nikito suddenly changed back into bee of lava. When the ink-made lions attacked, the burning layer of lava melted the ink away. Once the last beast was gone, the bee changed back into identical clones of the original. Wait, I've got a plan, Naruto said. He turned to Hinata for this. You can make water clones, right? Yes, Hinata answered. Then work with me on this. Naruto put his hands together for his cloning seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Aside from the original, there were now 2 Narutos. Hinata made her hand seals and followed with him, Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu. Hinata then waved her hands in front of her, gathering 2 orbs of water in her hands. She then threw them on the ground next to her and the water orbs took form of clones. Naruto, what do you plan to do? Kakashi asked. You said I can gain the experience that my shadow clones gain. Naruto said, remembering what he learned those years ago from his former teacher, Hinata's water clones can do the same. Really? Hinata asked, surprised. You didn't tell her? Naruto asked. I didn't think it was important. Kakashi answered, I didn't think she would use her clones for whatever you would do. Naruto sighed and looked back at Hinata. Well, now that you know, follow me. The two Naruto clones ran ahead towards their enemies. Leave your original behind. Hinata's water clones followed Naruto's clones. The four of them charged at Nikito and his clones. The first Naruto clone brought out a hand and a swirl of chakra appeared in the hand. The second clone put his hands on the orb and swirled some of the wind element into it. While this was happening, Hinata gathered some water into her hands, forming a ball of water. She formed the ball into what appeared to be a four-pointed star. Naruto thrusted his hand forward, hitting his opponent with his orb, Futen, Rasengan. Hinata threw her water at her opponent, Mizu Shuriken, Water Shuriken. The attacks hit the lava clones. Naruto's attack left a large hole in the clone's sea and Hinata's shuriken made several small holes all over the body. You think that would do anything to me, clones? Naito asked. Yugen-dan no Jutsu, lava bullet technique. Nikito and his clones spewed out several lava pellets and hit Naruto and Hinata's clones. The clones disappeared from sight once they were hit. Back with the other shinobi, Naruto and Hinata instantly gained some knowledge of what happened. Well, Lee asked. Well, for starters, that lava burns. Naruto said, understanding how his clones suffered from the pain, but I think I have a plan. He turned to his teammates. Kakashi-sensei, I need you to be with Hinata for this, since you know some water techniques too. Fuzzy Brows, you and Guy-sensei be ready to pull anyone out if something goes wrong. Everyone else, provide a distraction while I bring the plan into motion. What are they doing? Kabuto asked. Suddenly, the small group of shinobi scattered, running around the desert sand. Yugen Bunshin no Jutsu. Nikito brought out more clones preparing for anything that was going to happen. Kiba, Akamaru, Reiko, Kanara, and one of Naruto's clones ran together, throwing shuriken and kunai at Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito. The lava clones defended them, and started to multiply from the splattered puddles of lava. Sai, Shikamaru, Chuji, and another one of Naruto's clones ran together in their own group and did the same, throwing weapons at them. While this distraction was taking place, Sakura and Ino stood with Lee and Guy, watching to see if something goes wrong. Lee and Guy had their leg weights off, needing to rely on their highest speed to keep the plan in motion. With their enemy distracted, Naruto, Hinata, and Kakashi prepared for the real attack. Are you sure this will work? Kakashi asked. You're just gonna have to trust me. Naruto said, can you do that? I trust you, Naruto-kun. Hinata said, if she can trust you, then so will I. Kakashi answered. While the distraction was still taking place, one of Nikito's clones charged at one of the groups. He charged at Shikamaru, landing a lava bullet at his ankle. He fell down on the sand, with a large thump. Hurry, Sakura instructed to Lee and Guy. In a flash, the two disappeared from sight and reappeared by Shikamaru's side. They picked him up and darted back to Sakura and Ino. Sakura used her medical jutsu and healed the burn on Shikamaru's ankle. When one of the clones decided to try and find a way out, Gaara's sand techniques prevented him from leaving. Temari and Kankuro joined in the distraction, providing Lee and Guy cover if there was any trouble. Naruto, Hinata, and Kakashi were now ready to move on with the plan. Let's do this, Naruto said. The shadow clone with the three disappeared. This gave the other clones the signal. Each of them told the others to head back, for the plan was moving on. What's happening now? Kabuto asked. They're running away. Maybe they gave up, Nikito guessed. From behind them, Hinata and Kakashi ran towards them, making hand seals and unleashing their jutsu. Suiru no Jutsu, water prison technique. With Hinata's water gathering ability, Kakashi was able to use her supply in the spheres of water. They launched the spheres forward, trapping all of Nikito's clones. This won't last long, Kakashi said. Naruto, you better hurry with this. I know. Naruto ran forward. While the lava clones were still trapped temporarily in the water spheres, Naruto unleashed his attack. Futen, Tukatsu Topu, wind release, freezing gust. Naruto inhaled deeply and blew out a large gust of wind. Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito covered their eyes from the sand that was picked up by the wind. The wind, it's so cold. Kabuto noted. The water spheres slowly began to freeze up from the cold wind, turning to spheres of ice. Within the next 30 seconds, the spheres were completely frozen. Naruto then summoned more clones, all of them already preparing a Rasengan in one hand. Each clone charged at the spheres and shattered them with their attack. I must say, boy, you've improved. Orochimaru smirked. Everyone gathered with Naruto, surrounding Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Nikito. Neji and Tenten were still bound, but unharmed. You better let them go, Naruto said, calling off his clones. Or what, boy? Orochimaru asked. You're going to K me. Sasuke was able to K you once, Sakura said. Who's to say that Naruto can't? Let's not forget that it was me who made him into the strong shinobi he is now. Orochimaru grinned, and it's because of me that you will never feel the satisfaction of being powerful, because you will always be second to him. Naruto's eyes glared at Orochimaru. Every time he's heard him mention Sasuke's name, it made him angry. But to insult him and mention Sasuke like this went too far. His eyes immediately changed into being red, his pupils, iris, everything. Red was all that anyone could see in his eyes now. With one deep inhale, Naruto released a large roar that was followed by a giant shockwave. Everyone in the area was thrown back by the force and fell several feet away from Naruto. Gaara was thrown back from the giant force, but he produced a platform of sand to catch him and gently place him back on the ground. Everyone stared with terrified expressions when they gazed upon the new monster that was now created. Naruto was now completely consumed by the demon fox. The chakra covered his entire body and formed the many tails, but there were now 5 of them. His canines have increased and his face resembled more of a fox's face. His eyes showed no life in them, but it was clear that there was life in this being. The monster roared loudly at the sound Nin. Naruto. Sakura looked at Naruto. It's happening again. Images flashed in the minds of all who once witnessed the power of the Kyuubi taking form over Naruto. From the start, Naruto was merely covered by a shield of chakra that simply increased his strength. Then came the time his chakra actually took shape into something other than just a mere cloud of chakra. His one-tailed state. There was the time when Kakashi witnessed Naruto give into the form of the two-tailed form, when they were rescuing Gaara and Deidara escaped from Naruto's wrath. After that, Kakashi's team witnessed Naruto being cloaked in the three-tailed form, being more violent than ever. It wasn't long during that incident that Naruto was taken over by the fourth chakra tail. No one was able to recognize him at that state, for there was no sign of humanity in that form. But this was something that made the other stages less threatening. Naruto-kun. Hinata couldn't believe what was before her. Naruto has now faded away under the exterior of this demon. Naruto-kun. She ran forward to hopefully try and get Naruto back. Hinata, don't. Sakura grabbed her left wrist and pulled her back. Let me go. Hinata yelled. Don't do this. Sakura said, his mind isn't his own. He can't tell the difference between his friends or his enemies. He could hurt you or, even K you. Stop him. Orochimaru yelled. For the first time, he showed an expression of worry, something that wasn't too common from him. Nikito put his hands together for a seal. Yugendan no Jutsu, lava bullet technique. Nikito spat out small pellets of lava that flew towards the five-tailed monster. The small demon still ran forward, acting as if the bullets of lava didn't harm him. Each time it pressed its paws on the sand, T-dirt kicked up and sizzled away into a substance smaller than a grain of sand. Yugentan, Shinbotsu Toku no Jutsu, lava release, sinking floor technique. Nikito s his palms on the desert ground. As the raging fox made one more pounce, the ground beneath it shifted and slowly began to steam up. In a matter of time, the sand melted into lava and slowly sucked in the fox. The little demon tried to force itself out, but the flow of the lava kept it in and eventually forced it under the intense heat of molten earth. That should hold him. While the lava pool bubbled around, small ripples began to appear. A sudden burst from the pool emerged and the demon fox was now standing over the lava surface. A sudden roar from the monster had everyone realize that it was now very angry. With one more roar, the chakra around it began to run through him rapidly. The coating around the fox was no longer a dark shade of B, but now it was in a shade of a dark orange. The tips, the ears, were tinted black and the beast showed visible lips on the mouth. Oh no. Kakashi was now terrified of what he was witnessing. What's happening? Lee asked. Kakashi didn't answer. His face was now pale from the sight of his former student who was now going through a raging transformation. Kakashi, what's happening? Guy asked. Naruto is. Kakashi didn't know how to say this without putting the same shock into anyone, he's losing himself. Sakura and Hinata looked in shock when they saw that Naruto was now changing even more into the very monster he was in a past life. Within the 5 tails of chakra, a 6th one slowly formed. A 6th tail. Yamato looked in complete shock. He looks more like the Kyuubi than before. My, the boy sure has changed. Orochimaru grinned in amusement, going as far as producing another 2 tails since the last time we met. Orochimaru never forgot the time when he witnessed the might of Naruto's 4-tailed state. He remembered how his many tricks weren't enough for the boy. Well, maybe this might give him a chance against Sasuke. Kabuto commented. The sound of Sasuke's name made the beast twitch at the ears. It then turned towards the 3 and snarled. Don't taunt it, Nikito said. If there's one thing I know about wild animals, it's to never taunt them. Well then I suppose it's a good thing this isn't an animal. Kabuto simply remarked, ignoring the warning of Nikito. This might even give Sasuke a small chill down his spine. Kabuto remained completely oblivious to the glare that the monster was giving. If he had seen it, he would have known sooner that taunting him was his last mistake. The beast charged at the 3 at a speed so incredibly fast that only trace of its movement was the sand that was in the air from the feet. It threw its front claws forward, ready to strike at the 3. Yugenton, Bugyoke, lava release, defensive wall. Nikito summoned a large wall of lava from the palm of his hands, separating the beast from the 3. That didn't stop the beast. It simply broke through the lava wall as if it was simply a paper wall. Its claws reached Kabuto and the 2 were thrown back from the force. The large amounts of sand that was forming around them hid the horrible sight of the S. All that was known was the sound of the monster growling and the painful scream of Kabuto. The shinobi protecting Suna looked in shock when the sound of Kabuto's scream down. When the sand clouds finally settled, the beast was crouched over the bee of Orochimaru's loyal servant. His tea was open with bee still flowing out, his clothes were stained in bee with many of them being large sea that even the world's best medical nin could not heal. His eyes no longer had life in them, it appeared as if he was staring off beyond the sky, to THW afterlife of where he was to be. That is a shame. Orochimaru said, he was a loyal one. The beast then turned towards him and Nikito, come, our business is done for now. He grabbed Nikito's shoulder and the 2 slowly sunk into the sand, but not directly into the sand, for a small patch that was Orochimaru's shadow was what swallowed the 2. The beast growled in defeat when its next 2 preys were now gone. It then noticed that the bound prisoners were still left. Neji and Tenten stared at the 6-tailed beast in horror, struggling to break free and hopefully escape. No, Neji, Tenten. Lee knew very well what the beast's intentions were. Yamato immediately threw his hands together and performed his seals. From beneath the sand, large roots in the form of dragons emerged and darted at the beast, but the speed of this monster was too fast. Each of the dragon roots attempted to try and bite at the monster, but each of them missed. Do something. Kakashi yelled to Yamato. I can't. Yamato yelled back, he's moving too fast, I can't catch him. Everyone stared in fear when the beast that was once Naruto stared at Neji and Tenten. With their hands and feet bound, they couldn't escape from the monster's wrath. Naruto-kun. Hinata ran towards him, not caring of the danger she would face. Naruto-kun, please stop. The beast turned to Hinata, roaring at her when his eyes gazed upon her. The loud roar made Hinata stop in her tracks. The beast hunched his shoulders and got as low as possible to the sandy surface below. Naruto-kun. She couldn't recognize anything about Naruto in this monster. What did you do to him? The beast only responded by snarling at Hinata. Hinata realized that simply talking to it won't do anything. She ran at the fox and threw her arms around it. I want Naruto-kun back. Give him back. The chakra coming from the fox's body began to burn at Hinata's cloths and skin, but she didn't stop. She began to cry from the pain of the burning as well as from the pain of losing Naruto. I want Naruto-kun back, let him go. The beast then emitted a large shockwave from his roar which forced Hinata off of him. Neji and Tenten were thrown back by the wave, but the others were at a safe distance. The monster slowly crawled up to Hinata, who was now scarred with small burns, and her clothes were partially burnt off. He's going to kill her. Sakura yelled. She turned to Yamato, do something, please. What do you want me to do? Yamato asked. I can't use my jutsu, he's too fast. The beast jumped up and dived down towards Hinata, claws out and teeth showing. Hinata-sama, Neji yelled. Sabaku-Q, desert coffin. Gaara summoned a large amount of sand to catch the monster before it reached Hinata. The beast's roar was muffled from the sand and was also limited in moving. Everyone watched as the lump of sand was still suspended in the air and several bumps began to pop around the place, no doubt being the monster trying to break out. Gaara then put his hands together for another seal, one that everyone knew too well. Wait, Sakura recognized the seal. Gaara, don't. Stop. Kiba yelled. Sabaku Sausu, desert funeral. The large sand immediately shrank to a slightly smaller size. This was when they heard the sound of the beast roaring in pain and small traces of bead dripping out of the sand. Naruto. Sakura ran towards his sand clump, towards Hinata, as well as to where Neji and Tenten were. As the last bit of sand came off of the beast, Yamato summoned the roots once more. They all sped towards the monster faster than Sakura and grabbed a hold of the beast, one biting each tail and the remaining roots binding the body. Hokage Shiki Jijin Jutsu, Kakuen Nitten Sushu, Hokage-style 60-year-old technique, enclosed hermitage return to society. Yamato released his jutsu, forcing the chakra to drain away from Naruto's body and finally revealing the boy underneath. Once the last bit of the bee-stained chakra faded, the roots all retracted and Naruto fell to the sand. Everyone arrived to where Naruto was and waited for him to wake up. After several seconds, Naruto gasped for air and shot himself up to a sitting position. Naruto-kun. Hinata. I'm alright. Naruto panted out, I'm not hurt, not anymore. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.